Rad Tech Burnout Part 2. Burnout Situation BS Number 8. Inappropriate equipment. Inappropriate equipment can include outdated equipment that barely functions or not having the right equipment at all. Performing radiographic equipment and giving doses of radiation to patients does not make sense if you aren't using the proper equipment. Trying to do lumbar spine X-rays with a portable machine is one example. Can it be done? Yes. Should it be done if you want optimal images? Absolutely not. A good tech will not stay working at a facility that asks them to take care of patients with bad equipment. Problems it can cause. Having equipment that constantly breaks down is not only annoying but makes for unhappy patients. An end-of-life nuclear medicine camera that constantly breaks down is troublesome on many levels. It is unfortunate for patients who either have to come back another day to complete the exam they started or reschedule for a later date altogether. There's also the decreased productivity reports that call out how the department is falling behind on numbers. And if management is really penny-pinching, a down machine means technologists don't work their shifts. If there's no machine to do exams with, there's no need to have the techs on the schedule. Suggested tech tip. Know your department policy on how to handle when a machine isn't operating properly. Do you call your own internal biomedical department so they can take first look at the equipment? Or are you authorized to call straight to the vendor and log a ticket to fix the problem? Either way, acting on the issue right away will at least make sure it gets fixed as soon as possible. You also need to notify your leader so they are aware. Alternative tip. Much like being understaffed, when equipment starts to compromise patient safety, it is worthy to raise that red flag. Plus, you as the technologist are the subject matter expert on your modality. If a nuclear medicine technologist is telling me that their scanner is a safety concern to patients, I have to take notice of that and start an investigative process. Use your knowledge of your field to explain why the equipment is not functioning up to full capacity. Explain what it means to patient care and productivity. Burnout Situation BS Number 9. Ineffective leadership. There's a popular quote on LinkedIn right now that says people don't quit their jobs, they quit their bosses. We've all had bad bosses and we all know what it is like to work for them. This is one area you really don't have many options aside from the occasional company survey that goes out to all employees. Take solace in knowing that ineffective leaders typically don't last very long. And sometimes upper management brings in tough managers simply to clean house. Donnie says it's not cool being mandated to stay for overtime because of being short-staffed or because other staff called out. Raina wishes she could approach ordering physicians and tell them that the imaging exam they ordered is non-diagnostic for the diagnosis in question. She feels discussing this does no good and even results in hostility for questioning orders. Sometimes you feel good that you advocated for the patient, but often you just spend your day feeling defeated. Problems it can cause. Frustrations can arise when frontline staff doesn't feel like management has their best interest at heart. Be it ethical concerns or just being driven for the sake of maximum productivity, management styles vary widely. The demoralizing effect of poor leadership can bring down productivity levels and corrupt department culture. Recovering from a bad work culture is one of the hardest things to fix. And with bad employee culture comes poor customer satisfaction scores. In healthcare, that is a very dangerous mix since reimbursement rates are often tied to the customer or patient satisfaction. Suggested tech tip. The easiest thing to do when you find yourself at odds with leadership is simply to do your job to the best of your abilities and keep your head down. Don't turn a blind eye to inappropriate behavior or improper patient care, but don't do anything to draw unnecessary fire on you either. As mentioned earlier, inadequate leaders typically either move on to greener pastures or are let out to pasture by senior administration. Check out the administration profiles on LinkedIn and you'll see most leaders move around every 2 to 3 years. Alternative solution. After evaluating a situation in question, see if you can offer a better solution. Leaders don't like staff who always bring problems, but they do like when the staff brings problems and corresponding solutions. Do some research on what other facilities do in these same scenarios. Talk to friends you have at other locations and ask their opinions. In essence, be the change you would like to see in your department by offering ways to make it better. If you feel you excel in this area, consider going back to school and obtaining a higher degree. Bachelor's degrees are often enough to get into imaging management. Master's degrees look even more favorable. There are some very attractive graduate degree programs being offered online these days, and costs have gone down significantly. Burnout situation BS number 10. Mental health trauma. Radiologic technologists are right on the front line of traumatic events. We're in the emergency room when multiple vehicle accidents come in, or gunshot wounds from violence. There are a lot of things a rad tech will see that they wish they didn't. Type of people thrive on the adrenaline rush of traumatic energy. But everyone deals with trauma in different ways. Most difficult to mentally process are traumas involving children and the elderly. Problems it can cause. Healthcare workers are trained to do a lot of things, but one thing they don't teach in school is how to decompress after being a part of a traumatic event. Without the proper knowledge of how to decompress, staff can carry feelings of anger, pain, or resentment for a long time after the event has passed. This can begin to affect mental health, work and family relationships, and overall well-being. Over time, a buildup of witnessing the ugly side of life can be enough to make you want to quit your job. Suggested tech tip. Hospitals employ an internal team of staff who are trained to debrief and decompress faculty after traumatic events. Whether it is employee health, occupational therapy, or an internal traumatic events team, these are the people who are called upon to visit with staff one-on-one after a traumatic incident. They are trained to help you express your thoughts and emotions about the event and begin the healing process. Keeping trauma bottled up from work is very unhealthy. If your job requires you to see things you wish you hadn't, please seek out the help of these individuals and just spend 30 minutes talking with them. It may take a few sessions, but it will be well worth it. Alternative tip. If these types of traumatic events are something that you are just not able to process, that's okay. One of the great benefits of being a licensed radiographer is the plethora of opportunities that await your skill set. You can leave the hospital traumas and work in outpatient clinics where the worst thing you'll see is a minor laceration. Or work for a mobile company that only visits nursing homes with portable X-ray machines. Do you like to teach? Join a local community college or university and become a clinical instructor in the radiography program. Or work for one of the many vendors who supply our profession with equipment. They are thrilled to have a technologist who understands the industry from the inside help sell their wares. Burnout situation BS number 11. Ergonomics, wear and tear on the body. Working in a radiology department means more than just acquiring diagnostic images. It means getting patients in the right position so that those diagnostic images can be acquired. This requires helping patients in and out of wheelchairs. Helping them get up on exam tables and back down off of exam tables. In a hospital setting, it can mean physically pulling a patient from the gurney to the scan table and back. These are just some of the ergonomics behind the physical activity of our day-to-day jobs. Problems it can cause. Proper lifting techniques and stretching exercises are a standard part of the curriculum in any radiography program worth attending. We are all trained not to bend at the waist and how pushing is better than pulling. But there are scores of times where things happen quickly and instinct guides us before best practice can kick in. Like when a patient is standing at the wall bucky about to get a chest X-ray and starts to fall over. Our natural instinct is to catch them so they don't hit their heads. But that can lead to a traumatic back injury on our part. The same goes for moving a patient on and off your X-ray table by yourself because there is nobody else around. Suggested tech tip. Always ask for moving assistance. If you are a one-person show in a small hospital and the next tech doesn't come on shift until 7 a.m., ask the emergency room for help. Or ask a transporter or security officer. No one patient exam is worth potentially taking you out of work permanently. Improper lifting techniques is one of the main culprits for injury in radiology departments. Source. Alternative tip. Consider doing warm-up exercises before your shift. Sonographers are known for having a wall chart hung up on the back of their exam room doors. This chart reviews the different stretch and warm-up exercises needed to keep them from getting injured every day. The way they have to pinch, squeeze, and rotate their probes can easily lead to carpal tunnel within 3 years on the job. Many sonographers end up with shoulder pain from leaning over their patients' abdomens to scan the left kidney. Our jobs in imaging are not easy in many respects. Keeping your mind and body healthy can help prolong your career and keep it enjoyable. Burnout situation BS number 12. Profitability driving workflow. Departments that allow profitability instead of patient care to drive workflow means they care less about how stressed the staff becomes and more about how many patients they can schedule in a day. There are many limiting factors that play on workflow: acuity of patients, condition of equipment, the skill of technologist, and layout of the clinic, to name a few. I've seen plenty of clinics where patient volumes are unreasonably high to the point where technologists can barely keep up and patient care is questionable. This is a scenario where the probability of tech turnover is high because the expectations are unreasonable and unhealthy. Problems it can cause. A fast-paced imaging clinic can be highly profitable with the right technologists controlling the traffic. But when the scheduling model is taken from the techs and worked from an administrative perspective without input from technologists, you get a recipe for bad patient care and technologist injury. These hyper-scheduled clinics typically pay better than their hospital counterparts, but that does not make up for the risk of injury to the technologist or patient. I've seen busy ortho clinics where techs were doing 50 patients a day, each 2 techs doing 100 patients, and they were asked to transport patients to and from the exam and burn all patient discs to packs for comparison studies. This was way too much and presented safety concerns for all involved. You simply can't give the proper amount of patient care in 3 minutes. That is how long they had between patients. Suggested tech tip. Just like in tip number 1, you have to draw a line in the sand to protect yourself and your patients. They offer really good pay, but they have to do to all the turnover of staff. I've seen OB clinics where the OB patients were scheduled every 15 minutes. These were for complete OB studies. For those of you not familiar, a good complete OB study, when done thoroughly, should take at least 30 minutes if not 45, and that is if there is no abnormal pathology. To do a complete OB in 15 minutes means you are compromising study quality in exchange for scanning fast. By not having time for a thorough exam means you are potentially missing important pathology and anatomy. The techs loved the money, but the stress of adhering to this mind-boggling pace usually burned them out in 6 months to a year. Alternative solution. If you work in one of these image mills, remember what Jim Rohn used to say to his audience when talking about being unhappy in their current environment: if you don't like where you work, move. You're not a tree. Sometimes we feel like we have no options and that we are stuck where we work. This is usually not the case. Familiarity breeds security, and staying in one place brings its own comforts. That doesn't mean there isn't something better out there for you. Take a look around, you might be surprised. Burnout situation BS number 13. Jack of all trades. Some of you work in locations that require you to be more than a radiographer. Maybe it started out just being asked to move patients around from lobby to examination rooms. Maybe you were asked to get vital signs on patients since you were trained on how to do this in radiography school. Before long, you were not only doing all the X-ray work, but you were practically filling the shoes of a medical assistant, without the pay. Being expected to do more than your job is another reason technologists leave their jobs. Ashley is a licensed radiographer who also has to do clinical assistant duties, apply durable medical equipment to patients, knee braces, FX boots, crutches, etc., and she X-rays 50 to 80 patients a day in her busy ortho clinic. Lunch? What's that? Problems it can cause. It is one thing to be asked to help out when patient volumes in the radiology department are slow. But employers who add on new responsibilities and expect them to be done all the time are really only trying to save a buck. While radiographers can be asked to assign CPT codes to their exams in an effort to help out with billing, to expect them to fully understand all of the implications of billing is ludicrous. Asking a radiographer to function outside of their trained skill set is a risk and should be done on a case-by-case basis. I have seen techs quit because they were being asked to shovel snow in front of the clinic. Suggested tech tip. Help out when possible. Some common office duties that technologists can help with include inventory, answering phones and light office work. If you get asked to do billing, medical assisting, or laboratory work, it is time to consider sitting down with the office manager and reviewing your job description. If they are going to save money by asking you to do duties outside of your normal skill set, then a raise in pay may be in order. After all, if they are saving $13 an hour by not hiring an MA, conservative estimate, then they can afford to pay you $4 more per hour to take on the duties. Alternative solution. There are plenty of things a radiographer can do during slow volume days. Continuing education credits are needed every 2 years for licensure. You could be using your downtime to review the literature and take CEU tests. There is also radiology news-related sites that can keep you up to date on the latest radiology technology. Considering reviewing the following websites to further your radiography knowledge: ANTMINI, ARRT, ASRT, and other medical industry magazines. Don't forget the QC protocols. Your machine needs to stay accurate and compliant. Daily shutdown boot-up procedures should not be neglected. There are other quality control methodologies that might extend the life of your equipment. Ask your local field service representative. How can you tell if you are getting burned out? It is essential to identify the signs and symptoms of burnout before it becomes chronic and takes over your life. If you are experiencing more than 2 of the following symptoms, it is very likely that you are teetering on the edge of a burnout. Exhaustion. Extreme exhaustion emotionally, physically, and mentally is typically the first sign of a burnout. Apart from not having the physical energy to get to work or complete a task, if you feel like you have been totally spent and have nothing left to give, it's time to evaluate your options. Health issues. Prolonged exposure to stress without resolving it can result in digestive problems as well as other conditions like diabetes and cardiovascular complications. Other health problems that precede a burnout are high blood pressure and difficulty sleeping or staying asleep. Dependence on a substance, being depression, and displaying negativity are other issues that are common symptoms that herald a burnout. Lack of motivation. Everyone has one of those days when getting up to go to work is a burden. However, if this is a daily struggle, then it is not a good sign. Especially if you have always loved going to work in earlier times. When you do not find the motivation for work, everything will be mechanical, and you find no joy in going to work, meeting with colleagues, or treating the patients. Problem focusing. With so many physiological and psychological things happening, your brain will eventually be foggy. You will also be more forgetful than usual, and this can be dangerous when you are a technologist of any capacity. If you have trouble concentrating on your work or even doing normal activities combined with other symptoms mentioned above, you are on the brink of a burnout. Negative attitude. Another clear sign of chronic stress and burnout is having negative thoughts and being depressed. You are more cynical and have trouble keeping your thoughts in check. Along the same lines, you become easily irritable and cynical about life and things in general. This can have a grave effect on your relationships both at work and at home. How to reduce stress in a busy healthcare environment. The healthcare environment is a demanding job, and there are a lot of things that can trigger stress in most people. However, you don't have to surrender to it or become a victim. Humans work to live and not live to work. Our top tips on how to reduce stress in a busy healthcare environment are: your well-being comes first. Many people struggle with this concept. But it is not about being selfish. If you are well and strong, you can do more than help the patients. If you are weak and on the verge of breaking down, you are not much help. Jim Rohn used to say, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Think about it. Every now and then, remind yourself why you become a radiographer. I understand that you care deeply for your patients, but you also need to fight compassion fatigue. Avoid feeling guilty or blaming yourself for situations out of your control. 2. Have an active social life. No, I don't mean going out drinking every weekend. That can contribute to the burnout. I mean, cultivate a healthy relationship with friends and family. You can also join communities and groups of people who share the same interest outside of work. I know a really good Facebook group, Smiley Face. Having a social life outside of work will keep you motivated and invigorated. Even if you don't like engaging with people, you can cultivate and nurture your interests, which will relax your mind. 3. Physical exercise is a must. A physical exercise can be as simple as taking your dog out for a walk, which can work wonders for both of you. If you have the time and the inclination, go for a run or a hike. At the very least, doing some light stretches can relieve the tension in your body and release endorphins. 4. Take time to relax. Meditation is not the only form of relaxation, although it is a great option. Many people have their own ways to relax. Listening to music, cooking, gardening, reading a book or practicing yoga, the possibilities are limitless. Take a break from technology while you are relaxing. 5. Improve your sleep. Lack of good quality sleep is the prime reason behind many problems. Try to get at least 7 hours of sound sleep every single night. Make good use of blackout curtains, sleeping masks, and soothing music or background noises. I love the app called Noisely. The fan sound does wonders for my brain. 6. Speak to a senior peer or mentor. Organizations are beginning to have an increased awareness of combating stress in their workplace. So, if you have a counselor or a senior person you can talk to, it will be of great help. Utilize a friend at work to be a sounding board, but be careful not to turn it into a negative rant fest. What are some self-care methods for stress relief? Self-care is a must irrespective of whether you are in the medical field or otherwise. Indulging in self-care can boost your confidence, relax your mind and body, and generally make you happier. Some of the self-care methods for stress relief we recommend are: know your priorities. Of course, work is essential, but if your life revolves around it, it's time to evaluate your priorities. Take time to relax, have a luxurious bath, play your favorite music and dance like it's nobody's business, cook your favorite meal from scratch and eat it all. Go out shopping with your best friend or meditate your worries away. Take a mini vacation, if you can get the time, take a total break from work. Or simply take a day off and treat yourself to a relaxing massage at the local spa. Nurture your spiritual and emotional life, whether it is joining a church or other religious activity, community centers, or praying alone, your spiritual life needs nourishment. And so does your emotional life. Try to eliminate toxic relationships and manage anger, sadness, and anxiety in a healthy way. Eat healthily. If you are sincere about other aspects but still eat crappy, you will feel like it. Garbage in, garbage out. As boring as it sounds, eating healthy can be detrimental to your overall health. When is it time to quit your job? There are many reasons why people quit their jobs. The reasons can range from a toxic environment, lack of growth, better pay somewhere else, and so on. However, today we are talking about a stressful work environment and how to improve it. Therefore, if you have addressed your stress problems to the authorities and they have done nothing to improve your situation, then it is time to quit your job. It would be wise to line up your next employment prior to quitting your current job. Plan it right and you might get a nice mini vacation between jobs. If becoming a traveling technologist fancies your interest, check out my article here. Conclusion. Although it seems like a lot of people in radiology are experiencing rad tech burnout, you don't have to become a statistic. There is always a solution if you know where to look. Taking care of yourself is an excellent place to start. Some medical practitioners even prescribe medications to combat stress and burnout. However, if you are aware of your elements and understand your needs, it need not go that far. A healthy lifestyle and strong social support can also help you manage stressful situations better, so cultivate those, and you should be able to stave off a technologist burnout. References: Ballinger, J.M., Camello, R.J., and Ville, B. 2008. Stressors that negatively affect the health of radiology professionals. Journal of Medical Imaging and Radiation Sciences, 39 1, 11-15, doi, 10.1016/j.jamie.2008.001.002. Barr, P. 2014. The Boomer Challenge. H&HN, Hospitals and Health Networks 88 1-22-26. Kane, L. N. D. Medscape National Physician Burnout, Depression and Suicide Report 2019. Retrieved from https://www.medscape.com/slideshow/2019-lifestyle-burnout-depression-60111056. Goodwin, M. 2017. Work-Life Balance. Best Practices in Healthcare Management Begin with Self. Nursing Economic $35 3 152-155. Singh, N. Knight, K. Wright, C. Baird, M. Ackroyd, D. Adams, R. D., and Schneider, M. E. 2016. Occupational Burnout Among Radiographers, Sonographers, and Radiologists in Australia and New Zealand, Findings from a National Survey. Journal of Medical Imaging and Radiation Oncology, 61 304-310, doi, 10.1111, 1754-9485.12547. This presentation contains images that were used under a Creative Commons license. Click here to see the full list of images and attributions. https://link.attribute.to/cc/394547